All right, let's just, for all of you keeping score at home, or maybe you've been a little busy and you can't recall these events. On Sunday, there was a Madison Square Garden rally. The mother of all rallies, they called it. And many hours before President Trump took the stage, a very popular comedian made, I don't like it, not a great joke, especially when it's a political rally. But again, it's Tony Hinchcliffe. He's very well liked. And you got to take it as comedy. And again, if you're not offending people 1 out of 10 times you're a comedian, you're not doing your job. It's a trial and error thing. He makes a joke that, of course, if you do it in a political rally, it gets applied in ways that are not great. Okay. He's a Comedy Central writer, and he writes for all these roasts. Okay. So the media, of course, just goes completely nuts and loses their mind because we're supposed to care about what somebody says as a comedian at a Trump rally. Okay. So the Democrats think they have new momentum because of this joke. They think a single joke, we have a huge momentum, we're going to seize on it. So Kamala Harris has her event on Tuesday evening at the Ellipse. And concurrently, as Kamala Harris is about to do her event, they send Joe Biden, who, by the way, is now doing more speaking and campaigning than he did in 2020, and he's in far worse mental condition today than he was in 2020. They send him on a Zoom call with Voto Latino. As he's on the Zoom call with Voto Latino, Joe Biden, not jokingly, but very seriously, and he's not a comedian, he's the current president of the United States, during the Kamala rally, says Trump supporters are all, the only garbage I have seen are Trump's supporters, or his supporters. So not, again, it would be one thing if he's like, the only garbage I've seen is Donald Trump. Okay, they've called Donald Trump worse than garbage. They want him dead. They call him Nazi. They call him dictator, fascist. He's been shot in the head. Okay, that would have been bad, but it wouldn't have gotten the response that it did. Instead, excuse me, Joe Biden said that you are garbage. He involved the body politic that he is tasked to govern. And I say this, and I want somebody to correct me. freedom@charliekirk.com. Has there ever been, in the history of the United States of America, a statement by a current president as hateful towards the people of the country as this one? I did some research. Even Abraham Lincoln on this had a heart for the Confederacy, which was a schism and technically a foreign nation within a nation during the Civil War. It wasn't not a foreign nation, but they thought of themselves as a foreign nation. That somehow that was, Abraham Lincoln still had a heart for the people of the Confederacy. He would never call them garbage or vermin. He said, these are our brothers, and I wish we could get this over with. And I'm so sad we're fighting them. There was a lament, there was a lamentation to Abraham Lincoln's approach. Never in American history has a current president said out loud the hatred of the American people. And again, I would have rolled my eyes if he would have been like, well, Donald Trump and his team are all garbage. Okay, that's not great. But now all of a sudden you're involving the plumbers, electricians, the welders, the veterans, the moms, the pastors, the priests, the rabbis, the everyday Americans. Now like, whoa, that is completely different. And it wasn't that Joe Biden said something that he didn't mean. It's that he didn't mean to say it. And those are two completely different things. Let me say that again. It's not that Joe Biden didn't say something he didn't mean. It's that he didn't mean to say it. It is a deeply held belief of the regime that the people of this country are trash, therefore worthy of discarding. So I was texting with a New York Times reporter as it happened. I said, oh, this thing's going to just light on fire. And this just goes to show these reporters, they don't quite understand how things work. And he said, what do you mean? I said, oh, this is going to be the #1 news story for the next 3 days. And he said, what? I said, oh, I know the internet. I know this is going to be huge. He's like, all right, let's see. And then he texted me back yesterday. He's like, whoa, you were right. It was the #1 trending story on the planet, 3 million tweets on Twitter. And then Donald Trump brilliantly decided, and this is what you do. You use the marker of disdain in your favor. You use what they consider to be a negative and you turn it into a positive. Moves and counter moves, as Philip Seymour Hoffman would say in The Hunger Games. Moves and counter moves. So Donald Trump then goes yesterday to Wisconsin. And this is without a doubt the most entertaining political campaign ever. In some ways, you don't want it to be over. Donald Trump gets shot. Not that's a good thing. He gets indicted. He works at McDonald's. What has Kamala done? It's the most scripted, artificial, synthetic, propaganda-laced campaign in the history of politics. And instead, we have Donald Trump, who is completely authentic. So here it is. Donald Trump gets off of Trump Force One, using the negative into a remarkable positive, where Donald Trump then does a press conference from a garbage truck. Donald Trump wearing the orange vest and taking questions. This is only 5 seconds long, but play cut 76.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
I wish we had longer tape there, but there is Donald Trump in a garbage truck taking questions, holding a press CNN as Donald Trump takes questions. Could you imagine if you are an average CNN viewer and you just kind of turn on your TV and you have no idea what's going on? All of a sudden, Donald Trump's taking questions out of a garbage truck. Let's play cut 83 here.
So I had a few people reach out, so I figured I'd jump on here and just let everybody know that was me driving President Trump's garbage truck. There's me with Vivek right there, but I gotta say it was an honor and a privilege to drive Garbage Force One. President Trump is just a normal, everyday guy. He hopped in, no problem. He looked at me, he said, "Give me one of these right here," and we don't have one of these, we have one of those. So I honked a couple times and he laughed. He said, "How about we take this bad boy through McDonald's?" And I said, "Sir, I don't think she'll fit in the drive-thru." He said, "It's all right, I used to work there." And he turned to me and he said something, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. He said, "This is really sticking it to Joe Biden." I said, "Yes, sir, it is." So, Joe, consider this a message to you, because you called us garbage, and in order to prove that we aren't garbage, we got a truck that hauls garbage. Does that sound like something garbage would do? Would be to drive around in a truck that hauls garbage? I don't think so. You made a mistake, Joe. You can't call a group of people garbage unless it's meant to be funny. And in that case, those people need to stop being so soft. Maybe get a sense of humor. But if you call me garbage, that's offensive. And you should consider what it's like for people's feelings to hear that. You might as well call me Oscar the Grouch, because you done pissed me off, Joe. And if being a patriot is what they're calling garbage these days, then yeah, I am garbage. Because I'm going to show up to the polls wearing a garbage bag to show you what us white trash can do.
Show up. By the way, this Halloween, all of you guys should be wearing that orange vest or some garbage trash aesthetic. You see, they try to minimize you. They try to marginalize you. This is his connection with the people. Could you imagine if Kamala Harris were to win? What would be the argument as to why she won? Donald Trump has outworked her. He has outmessaged her. He's better on every major issue. How would they convince people? Oh, well, Kamala Harris with her major swaths of support. The only way it happens is if we don't show up. It's that simple. I'm looking at the numbers. If we are sleepy and if we are complacent, Kamala Harris wins. We are in the driver's seat. NFL legend Brett Favre at the rally nailed it yesterday. Play cut 84.
I want to address the comment that Joe Biden made yesterday or last night that said the supporters of Donald Trump, us, are garbage. Or garbage. I can assure you we're not garbage. How dare he say that looking out? I see police officers, teachers, nurses, grandparents, students. I see everyday Americans that make this country great.
Every day that make this country great. And he's at war with the American people. Kamala Harris hates the people that she is tasked to govern. She hates you. You can't lead America unless you love America, as President Donald Trump would say. So you guys better use that as motivation, because if we do not turn out and get our friends turn out and make the most amount of noise humanly possible from now to Tuesday, we will hand the country to people who hate it and hate you and hate the people. It's that simple. You do not call the American people garbage. The only supporters that I've seen, again, it's one thing if like a random person says or an activist, the president of the United States definitionally cannot have contempt for the people of the nation that he is tasked to oversee. That explains the $200 billion to Ukraine. That explains ignoring Western North Carolina. It explains ignoring East Palestine, Ohio. He thinks the people of East Palestine are garbage. He thinks you're trash. He thinks the people of Butler, Pennsylvania are vermin. Thinks the people of Springfield, Ohio deserve a little Haitian invasion. The people of Aurora, Colorado deserve a Tren de Aragua takeover. He thinks that the Latin masses deserve to be taken over because you're garbage to them. We have to work harder than we ever worked. And we're not working hard enough yet. We're not. We have to make the most noise we've ever made. We turn out, we win. We turn out, we win. I see the numbers right there. The table is set. It is pure, strict turnout. This thing's going to be razor tight. And it's going to be a matter of who wants it more. Let's play cut 30. This is NBC News giving you a state of the race. Play cut 30.
But his support continues to run deepest with voters who it is unclear if they're actually going to turn out and vote. Look at it this way. From our NBC polling, a merge of all of our data, those who voted in the 2020 presidential election and the 2022 midterms, Harris with a 6-point lead, the most reliable block of voters. Those who only voted in the 2020 presidential, that's where Trump opens up a lead. And then those who didn't vote in either, that's where Trump has his biggest advantage over Harris. Are they actually going to vote this time around? Huge question mark.
This is a problem if we don't turn out. We lose if we don't turn out. That's what that says. We win if we turn out. It's that simple. It's not about persuasion. It's not about winning over suburban wine moms. It's not about any of that. It's about turnout. It's about turnout. We lose if we drop the ball. We are in the driver's seat, just like Aaron Judge did last night. Yeah, Andrew's really happy. The Dodgers won. Great. It's terrific. Congratulations. The essence of this election is going to be, did we do that extra little bit of work to find the low prop voter? I'm going to be honest. There's a world where we all of a sudden, I'm looking at the data on Tuesday, I'll be like, our people stayed at home. It is this grand mystery. As Blake calls it, it is kind of like astrology. It is just pure guessing at this time, unless you make it happen. This is not a football game. You see, a football game, it's purely spectator. No matter what you think you do, you're not influencing the football game. Okay, you're yelling, you're screaming, okay, whatever. You actually get to influence the country here. Your activism, your energy, your spirit, your grit. And you start with your circle. Your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your neighbors. And you go on there, you download the Turning Point Action app, or you just go into a diner. Go into a diner this weekend and wear your MAGA hat. Literally, if there's ever been a time to go wear your Trump gear, now is the time. And everybody that interacts with you, have you voted? 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 Why not? To waiters and waitresses, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, empty your entire phone contact list with the same message. Have you voted? Have you voted? Have you voted? Have you voted? Charlie, I have one of your signed hats because he's a member, members.charliekirk.com. Yesterday, I went to 2 places and your hat brought attention. At Walmart, 5 people came up to me and said they loved the hat. I asked, have you voted? All said they were waiting till election day. I chatted and convinced them to go vote early and agreed. They went to then I went to a trick-or-treat event, wore the hat. 6 more people came up to me. 2 had voted and 4 agreed to vote early. Wear the hat, it works. That's, Laura, that you're an American patriot. If you guys have a hat, you guys got to go do it. It doesn't matter what state you're in, red state, blue state. You have to go find voters right now. This is it. I will stop bugging you guys as soon as polls close on Tuesday. Then a whole nother series of fights will happen. Certification, all that. We're not going to get into that right now. Certification's a whole nother fight. I'm not worried about that. That's going to take some focus energy. That's a whole different ballgame. We have to use the forcing function to get us to victory. To get, at the end of all counting, more votes for us, less votes for them. Boom. End of story. How do we find them? You draw attention and you have courage. Charlie, I'm not a low propensity voter, but a senior citizen. I voted early, so if I got sick or my wife got sick or I had to babysit my grandkids on election day, my vote is banked. I took my sister early vote after that. Keep up the good work. God bless you, Ed. Thank you. Very good. It's going to be a question of, can MAGA not just do the work? Can MAGA not just vote, but can MAGA do the work? You all know a voter that can change the country. You all know that. Charlie, thanks for your research. I've noticed several people that I know who are Christians say they will not vote because they believe God will steer our country in the right direction. So apparently they want God to do their job. Okay, well, those people are morons. It's like saying, oh, I'm not going to eat dinner tonight because God's going to feed it and put it in my mouth. Or I'm not going to drive my car because God will drive my car. That is a moronic theological view. It is not scriptural. It's not theological. Oh, so God doesn't actually want you to ever do anything right, moral, just, or pure, or good? He just wants you to kind of sit around, veg out, and for things to come to you? At that point, why even shower? Use the restroom. Why even get dressed? I mean, God will do it for me. Not voting is a betrayal to the veterans and those who died for you. It takes 5 seconds. Find a new voter. Empty out your phone. This is it, everybody. This is the final push.